Good evening, UK Crime Book Club. I am thrilled to bits, look, beaming, to introduce Maggie James, and I'm going to ask you to show off your books, Maggie, and introduce yourself properly.
Yeah, I will do. Thanks, Samantha. It's lovely to be here. My name's Maggie James, and I'm an author of psychological suspense novels. I've written 7 novels and 1 non-fiction book and a novella to date. This is my latest one. Have a look. Silent Winter, which was published last December. It's probably my darkest novel to date and one of the most fun to write as well. So I don't know if you want any more than that, Sam, or is that okay?
Oh, go for it. Yeah, show them all off. Let's
All
show
right
everybody
then.
what they
Right.
need to spend the money on.
Yeah, this is my first baby. He's Kidnappers Shoes.
Excuse
This
me.
one is very dear to my heart because it's the first novel I ever wrote, and it's a culmination of a lifetime's ambition to be a writer. So that's great. This is number 2. Oh, I've got the map sequence there with me. This is number 2, the wonderfully titled Sister Psychopath, which is actually
Brilliant title.
it's dedicated to my 2 brothers. Funnily enough, I thought they might find that amusing. Yeah, probably agree with it as well. This is number 3, Guilty Innocence, which again, that was great fun to write. It's a bit of a hard subject matter, that one, because it involves child murder.
Yeah.
So parts of it were, I admit, quite distressing to write. But yeah, that was that one. I loved writing this one, The Second Captive. It's all about Stockholm Syndrome, and it's all about a young girl who's kidnapped by a pretty nasty guy and kept locked up for a couple of years. And it was great fun to write. I love writing the bad guy in this one because he has his good points as well as his bad points. So I try to make him quite multi-dimensional. So nobody wants a cardboard cutout villain, do they? So right, which one came next? Yeah, this is After She's Gone, which was the first novel I actually wrote that features a friend of mine in the lead role. I took my friend Laurie Golden's name, and I also featured her cat in the book as well. And that was great fun because that's the first time I'd done it. And Laurie's a great friend. She's been very supportive with my writing. So it gave me great pleasure to do that. Don't worry, I'm nearly finished. I love the title on this one, Deception Wears Many Faces. This is all about a con artist he's more than a con artist, really. He's a bit of a psychopath, to be honest. And it's all about the strife and trouble he causes between 2 sisters. So that was another one. It's fun to write. And last one, I promise. This is a novella that I offer to anyone who signs up to my newsletter, Blackwater Lake. And another fun one to write. It's all about hoarding disorder. And I got the idea from watching a TV program about hoarding disorder. And I started to think, well, what would happen if someone actually was afflicted with hoarding disorder and, there's a clue to a murder or some problems within the hoard. So that's what happened there. I've just noticed I've gone off screen. I've got no idea what's
Yeah.
happened. Yeah, my camera's
I can hear you. I can hear you, but you have literally just disappeared. So,
I
would you like to refresh your browser? And
I will do. Bear
I'll
with me.
entertain
Yeah,
everyone for a minute, best I can.
yeah, I will do. Right, so then my camera's still on, so not sure what happened there.
So, just while Maggie refreshes the browser, we've got a couple of comments already. We've got lots and lots of comments and questions. So, thank you very much, everyone who's watching. So, David Gilchrist, hi David, has said the first book I read on Kindle, Blackwater Lake, loved it. So, and Maggie's already replied to that, thank you. So I know she's already seen that comment. You can actually get a copy of it by and somebody's just told me my eyes were funny, okay? I don't know what to do with that. Oh, Maggie, you're still there, you can hear me. Have you refreshed your browser?
I have, and unfortunately,
How
nothing's happening.
strange. Right, let me
Right,
refresh mine. Let's just see why you've disappeared. So now I'm going
yeah,
to disappear for a moment. But for anybody who wants to look for for anybody who wants to download Blackwater Lake for free, it's at maggiejamesfiction.com. Because still just me. Maggie, can you just close your browser and then click the link to join again, please?
Yes, I will. I'm sorry about
Thank
this.
you.
I'm
No,
not
no,
quite
no,
sure.
it's absolutely fine. I'm still beaming. Very excited to see you.
Right, bear with me.
Will do.
Let's see what I can do.
So apparently when Maggie disappeared, I had big eyes. I'm not sure who said that. All the better to see you with. And now there's a sound issue. So let's have a look who's letting me know that. No, I'm not even getting it on the actual feed. My freeze frame face was a treat, was it, Kaz? Thank you very much. Show you on tonight's mug. Tonight's choice of mug is Nicholas Lyndhurst as Dave Rodney. Husband's mug, stolen it. My son's told me I'm not allowed to use his Stranger Things mug anymore. So, oh, right. So, we are here to talk about Maggie, but I had some exciting book posts that I'm yet to share. So, I got my copy of Advanced Island by C.L. Taylor. Very, very excited. Let you know how that goes. 6 friends, 7 days in paradise, a deadly secret. Who will make it off the island alive? So excited. So it's C.L. Taylor, Kelly Taylor, and there's the back of the book. Love the cover. I'm not sure if this is the finalised cover or not, but it looks fantastic. So thank you, Kelly, and thank you to HarperCollins HQ, who sent me a lovely little note with it. So there we go. So let's see if Maggie can join us again yet. No, she's not arrived yet. Thank goodness I disappeared before you could screenshot it, Kaz. I shall make sure I edit that out of the video. It's not happening, not having that screenshot. We've got enough interesting screenshots of me. So, isn't actually back in yet. I'm just going to check if I've had any messages. It's like the incredible disappearing woman that we've had before. So let's have a look at some more books from the shelf. So there's a few that are in contender for Book of the Year. Still trying to decide. Kaz and Alex, I think, have decided their Book of the Year that we're going to be doing. Not sure Kaz has announced it yet, but I'm sure she'll forgive me. So I am yet to read. Ooh, I'm going to knock everything over, wait for it all to crash down on my head. Calm Fury by Pat Adams Wright. Hi, Pat, if you're watching. So this is a Kirsty Savage, DCI Kirsty Savage novel, which I received last week. We have got Births, Marriages and Death by Will Templeton. Will was a registrar. This book is fantastic. We've got all sorts up here. We've got Emma Christie that was in the silent. We've got Charlotte Levin, If I Can't Have You. I've got all sorts on the shelf behind me as well. One that's a contender, and I've been telling him about this, William Shaw with The Birdwatcher. Absolutely fantastic. There's a character called William, who I am completely smitten with. We have got Malcolm Hollindrake on my Kindle with Cyril Bennett. I'm a very, very, very lucky lady. I'm going to have a look if we've got any comments yet. All sorts going on here. Still no word from Maggie. Oh, hold on. Bear with me a second. Let's see if we can drop Maggie back into the stream.
Oh, I can hear you, Sam. It's looking good.
Hello. I have been wittering on with books from my shelf.
Oh, that's good. Good. I've no idea what happened there. I don't know if it's a problem your end or my end, but anyway,
No idea. You just seem
back
here,
again.
but hi.
Oh,
And you're back
yeah.
again. Let's go straight to some comments from the stream. Obviously, you've got a list of questions from me as well.
Yeah,
Kaz
no.
wants to know, you're so nice. How do you write such dark novels? She's not wrong. When you were saying it was really fun to write, I was thinking, okay.
I have to admit, some parts of some of my books were not fun to write, like the child
Yeah, of
nurse,
course. Yeah.
and I'm really squeamish about eyes. And without giving any spoilers, there's a bit in his kidnapper shoes, which was really, really, really difficult to write. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I suspect I must have an inner dark side that I like to unleash through my novels. So.
As long as you keep it in your novels, then surely it's not
Exactly,
too
yeah.
much of a problem.
I swear, I've not yet murdered anyone or kidnapped anyone or done any of the terrible things that I've described in my books. But no, it's kind of quite fun being a baddie, but in book form, not in real life.
Do you do that thing of walking around looking for places to bury books?
I don't actually. I don't. I know I've seen some comments from some authors in the book group about, they think, oh, they see a roll of carpet and wonder if there's a body inside or something. But see, I'm not that, deranged really. I don't do that yet. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe a few more years writing, I might do that sort of thing.
Yeah, I look at rolls of carpet with terror. We've got people saying good evening. I'm wondering if that's David Gilchrist because I can't see the names, and I tried to have the feed on my phone, but it's not
Well, good
updating the
evening to you,
comments, so I'm not
Renee.
sure. So good evening.
Yeah. Hi,
Oh,
David.
Pat Adams, right? I've just shown one of her books while you were The Incredible
Oh,
Disappearing Lady. She says good evening.
hi,
Somebody says,
Pat.
I like the sound of the dark one. Which
Oh.
one?
Must have been Silent Winter, I think, because
Mm,
that was the one I introduced as my darkest book to date. Because it's
yeah.
basically about a guy he's mugged and he recovers consciousness and he's chained up naked in a dungeon. It's
And
normal.
that's Drew Blackmore, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah, that again, that one was really hard to research. I had
Mm,
to research. What happens when people are locked up with sensory deprivation and when they can't see or hear anything. Basically, they go mad, and
yeah.
it was hard. It was hard. It's quite distressing to research.
So, do you have to do a lot of research?
I'm not. I don't really enjoy research. I must admit. There's a good reason I don't write things like historical fiction. I just don't
Mm,
enjoy the research. But I research as much as I have to, and some of it actually is quite fun. Like many authors, I'm glad nobody looks at my browsing history because I've got to. In the past, I've researched things like the decomposition rates of bodies in cold water. Obviously, I've had to research, things like Stockholm syndrome,
mm,
which was both fascinating because it's quite, I think, unless you've suffered something like that, it's quite hard to believe how somebody can have, romantic feelings towards their kidnapper. It's to everyone else, it seems a bit bizarre, but it makes perfect sense. So,
yeah.
yeah, I do what research I have to, really, but I do limit it. I don't really enjoy it very much. I'd rather be writing, to be honest. So,
Has anything you found in your research surprised you?
Um, hmm, good question. I think I'd need to think about that. I'm not too sure.
Fair enough. Should we come back to
Yeah,
that one?
yeah, come back to that one. Yeah, that'd be good.
TG, our author member TK Gearing says hello.
Hi, TJ.
Oh, you made Kaz really nice in one of your books. Tell us
I
about that.
did. Yeah, no, which one was Kaz in? I know. Kaz was in Deception Wears Many Faces, this one. And she's actually a really good friend to the main character. She's very, very supportive and everything. So yeah, I mean, Kaz is a lovely person, as we both know. So yeah, I think other readers who I might put in future books, they might be quite happy to be a baddie. But I thought I'd make Kaz a good one.
I'd say that's a pretty accurate description of her.
Yeah, I like her. I
Yeah,
think
she's one of my go-to people for a good rant and for a good panic.
yeah. What, like when the feed goes off during author interviews?
She did actually send me a message saying, "Do can she do anything?" But I thought we'd see if we could get you back in first. And it seems to be. I'm not going to finish my sentence. Touch wood.
Yeah,
Let's just leave it
fingers
there.
crossed, touch wood.
Let's not
Yeah,
tempt fate.
yeah, we don't want that happening again.
What you might have missed was apparently my frame face was a treat.
Hmm.
So that's apparently I froze at some points.
You did, because I could see that. And you looked horrified, and I was, although you couldn't see me, I was looking horrified as well. I mean, what on earth is going on here? So, behind the scenes, I was running around like a headless chicken because I tried to log back in, and it said we need a two-factor log and authentication
Wow.
code. So I had to text my phone. So I was getting my phone and getting these codes and things. It was, yeah, it was bonkers.
That's the point when I normally ring Kaz going, I can't get in, what's going on? No,
Yeah.
right there with you. No, we know. Somebody's put from your favourite elderly sloth. I'm just
Oh, that's
wondering what.
Robin. Hello, Robin.
Hi,
Hiya.
Robin.
Hiya. I know exactly who that is. He's a recent member of the group, and he's a lovely guy. So it's good to have
Oh,
him
has
on
he
board.
joined today by any chance? I
Yes,
remember there
he
being somebody
has.
called Robin. Hello,
He
new member
has.
Robin.
Yes, yes. We're both huge sloth fans. We're both animal fans in general, but we particularly like sloths. So yeah.
There's a few comments above that aren't really connected to anybody. They just say Facebook user, so any one of them could have been Robin.
Oh, right.
But yeah, not really sure. They're all about being able to hear us and things. So thank you anyway.
So far, the sound's been good at least.
So they're talking about Blackwater Lake, which
Oh,
David Gilchrist had said was the first novella, first book of yours that he'd read.
yes, that's right. And I think I'm right in saying it was also the first free book, because I think David, or it might have been someone else, said that they were a bit doubtful about the quality of free books you get from Kindle.
Oh, okay.
And at the time, it was free on Kindle. It's not anymore, but it was then. So I feel quite honoured by that. He read it and really enjoyed it, and he's always been hugely supportive of my work, as is Kaz. So that's good.
Yeah, they are. They're a fantastic team. They really
Yeah,
are.
they are. Yeah.
Somebody said if she was abducted, I'd give her back too. I can't. Oh, somebody said above that, has Maggie been abducted when you've gone? So I'm wondering if that's Robin being cheeky.
I like their way of thinking, and I think I said earlier that, I'd never done any abduction or kidnapping myself, but I have to say, on the other side, I've never been kidnapped either. So, but I like the way they think.
If it was me, they would absolutely bring me back. I waffle for England. None of it's any good.
I'd like to think someone would pay a ransom for me, but hey, I don't want to test it. I don't want to test it.
No, let's absolutely move on. We've got quite a lot of questions here, but I'm just going to go to some of the ones that I have got for you from
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
before. We've got all sorts at the side. So, what did you do before becoming a writer, and do you write full time now?
Before becoming a writer, I was an accountant for 28 years.
And
I
you
know,
weren't a
totally
fan?
different. Yeah. Well, I always wanted to be an author when I grew up. That was all I ever wanted to do, but I
Mm,
grew up, and as a young adult, I must admit I had very little confidence, and I just didn't know how to write a book. I had no idea where to start. There's no such thing as Kindles then. It was all very
mm,
different. So I
yeah.
thought, safe, solid career, I'll do accountancy. But it always bugged me, it's always nibbling away at me over the years, the fact that I wasn't writing anything, and yet it was all I ever wanted to do. And in the end, I think it just, there were various things happened. I had a bit of a falling out with my bosses at work, and I just thought, right, that's it. I'm going to give up work. I'm going to go off traveling for a year, and I'm going to come back from that year abroad with my first novel finished. And that's essentially what happened after a
Mm,
few more false starts. And then I came back to the UK, and I set up a business as a dog walker to support myself while I published my novels. And after I think about 3 or 4 years, I was able to go full time, which is great. I've been full time for nearly 6 years now. I say full time because I've had a bit of a hiatus with my writing mojo recently. It kind of flew out the window earlier this year, and I
well,
didn't.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't write for several months. I don't think it was COVID related because it started back in February before we had lockdown. But yeah, and I'm not. I'm getting it back now, but I'm not still back up to my former speed at all. So when I say I write full time, I finish back mid afternoon. I'm not doing a full working day, but it's coming back. I'm pleased to say.
Somebody did ask a comment about your it was Catherine Skeet Yaff.
Ah, Catherine, yes,
She asked. She said she can't make tonight, but she'll catch up on YouTube afterwards.
yeah.
She'd like to ask how or what started you writing again, and how did you get your mojo back, or is that still a work in progress? Getting your mojo back.
It is still a work in progress, but it's definitely getting better. I mean, I literally didn't
Good.
write anything for months, and the last, I think, 5 to 6 weeks, I've been writing more and more. My output has been
Mm.
steadily going up, because I was in the middle of writing a novel when it happened, and I just had that all got put aside for months. Where I just chilled out a bit, and so I'm pleased to say that novel's nearly finished. I've got about maybe 15 to 20,000 words to write on that. I actually credit my writing buddy John with getting me back on track. Every Sunday evening, I Skype with my writing friend John, who's a newbie author.
Mm.
And we basically use each other as accountability partners. We keep each other up to the mark with our writing goals. So we set goals each week. We're
Mm.
both quite driven and goal focused people. We set each other goals, and then we report back the following Sunday about whether we've done them or not. And he just said to me, just write something, just write a few words, just get writing again, but don't feel you have to write thousands of words. So that's basically
Yeah.
what I did, yeah, and it helped. And I found I was writing more and more, and gradually I found my mojo's coming back.
That's
Yay!
fantastic. Yeah, that's really exciting.
Yeah,
I'm really glad. So yeah, it's good advice just to write something. If it's 5 words, you're still
yeah.
moving forward. It's still progress.
Yeah, it sort of broke that deadlock for me. I just resolved that that week I'll just write 1,000 words, and I'm used to writing over 2,000 a day. So a
Mm.
thousand a week was a very low target for me, and I managed it. The next week I wrote, I think, 2,000 the next week, and that it just broke that deadlock. So I'm really grateful to John. He's a great guy, and like I say, he's a newbie author, and I reckon he's going to be pretty good.
Has he finished his first novel yet?
No, no,
Okay.
he's diligently working his way through it and everything, and I can't wait because it's going to be such a proud moment for him, but also for me because I've sort of
Mm.
been there as it's coming through all the different stages. So yeah,
One final question about John. What genre is he writing?
he's writing crime fiction, so
Right,
yeah,
tell him to get in touch.
yeah, I think he should. Yeah,
I
yeah,
think he should. Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, he may be a member of a group. I'm not sure. I mean, you've got like 13,000 members now, so who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Enough to keep us all busy, but yeah, good
yeah.
for publicity for the authors, we hope.
Yeah, you guys are so helpful towards authors. You know, it's brilliant. So thank you.
It's easy when it's your passion, isn't it? It's
I think so. Yeah, yeah. I presume it must be that way for you guys. You know,
yeah,
you and
love it.
David and Kaz and the other guys, Will and Kath, and they're all wonderful. So
Oh,
thank
thanks.
you.
I like them. I think they're brilliant.
Yeah.
Has any experience from previous jobs helped you to write? Have you used anything at all?
Not really, no, because I mean, accountancy isn't renowned as the most interesting job, so I sort of hesitate about putting that in a book, to be honest. Where it has helped is with the business side, because
Mm,
I think people think of it as a like a craft or an art or something, but it is also a business if you're full time. So it really has helped with that. But I do actually try and keep myself out of my novels. I know some authors do pour themselves into their books and use them as a kind of catharsis. I don't.
mm,
Quite a private person, and I like to keep
yeah.
myself out of my books. I don't put my, like my political views in there, my any religious or spiritual views. That's kept well out, you know. So yeah, I guess the answer is pretty much no to that.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Do Kaz always asks people if they keep a character bible or notes to help them going forward on anything that they plan to use or any character that they plan to use again. Do you have anything like that?
Well, I've never used because I don't write in a series.
Yeah.
I've never used any of my characters again. I'm not saying it wouldn't happen, but I haven't so far. I mean, I use special writing software, and I've got a file for every single book. So within that file, there are all notes about my characters. So if I wanted to, I could do that, and it also contains all my research and everything. So it's possible. I mean, somebody has said to me very strongly that they think there should be a follow up to Silent Winter, and I think
Mm.
there is a potential. I've also considered doing a sequel to His Kidnapper's Shoes, but not sure at the moment. I mean, I've got plenty of ideas for fresh books anyway, so we'll see. Who knows?
I like the fact that even though they're all standalones, your books are easily identifiable
Mm, yeah.
by the covers, and I think the covers are beautiful.
Yeah, they're amazing. I've got a great cover designer. I mean, what people might not know about me is that I'm a hybrid author. I've got some books which are published by Late Union.
Mm.
My other books are published by me, my own publishing imprint. I was with Bloodhound Books for some of my books, but I've
Mm.
now got my rights back to
Yeah.
those. What happened was when I got those rights back, I asked my cover designer to redesign the covers in line with the Late Union books, so they all look the same. So it's kind of good for branding, really. So they all have a cohesive look and everything. So I think she's done a fantastic job. I love the one to Silent Winter with that menacing crow in the pool of blood. Yeah, evil stuff.
It
Yeah.
does, it really draws you in. How about your titles? Were they all original titles or did they change as you were writing?
I always like to have a working title, but I find titling my books really, really difficult. I mean, I can agonize for weeks over titles. I mean, names of characters, no problem. I can get those in a
Mm.
flash, but titles I find very, very hard. So they are all the original names, apart from After She's Gone, which started off as Burning Obsession. and my publisher's actually changed that title. So, but generally, I think they've all stuck with the original title. Once I find a title, because it's so hard to get the right one, I just sort of
Yeah.
once I get it, I'm very reluctant to change it. So.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fair enough. So we've touched a little bit on the fact that you write standalones. Would you write a series? I know people have suggested follow-ups, but do you think you'd ever write a series?
I don't think so, no. I mean, I know a lot of advice given to authors is, oh, writing a series, writing a series, but I'm not sure I could carry a series through, particularly with writing psychological thrillers. I think
Mm,
it's probably easy with crime fiction because you can have a series that follows a lead detective, like the Roy Grace books from Peter James, but
yeah.
I'm not quite sure how you do it with psychological thrillers, to be honest. What I have thought about is a trilogy, perhaps,
Mm.
where, you know, there are three main characters and each book examines a different character in that trilogy. That is a possibility. But at the moment, no, I like doing a book and then moving swiftly on to something else, something quite different. So I don't think a series would work for me, but like never say never. It's possible.
I love this question. It's one of our
Oh,
staple author chat questions.
oh,
What
bring
have
it
been
on.
your most memorable moments as an author so far?
Oh, right. Well, two of those stand out without any question. The first was when I was in Bolivia at the time on my year off traveling, and it was when I
Mm.
finished His Kidnapper Shoes, the first draft. It was such an emotional moment for me because I'd wanted to write for decades and done nothing about it. So it's amazing, to actually type the end. And I had no idea that back then what I was doing. I just, as a writer, I just opened up Word and started typing. I didn't do all the preparation that I do now or anything. But it was such an emotional moment. I don't think I'll ever forget that. I just burst into
Mm.
tears, then went out to celebrate, and it was brilliant. And I think the second one was I was writing one day and I just about finished work for the day and it's 5 o'clock and my phone rang and it was actually an acquisition editor from Lake Union. She said, I loved His Kidnapper's Shoes, really,
Mm.
really enjoyed it. I'd be interested to explore ways we could work together. And that turned into a two-book contract for His Kidnapper's Shoes and After She's Gone. And that was an
Mm.
amazing moment because although she was very cagey and she wouldn't tell me exactly what she was phoning for, I'd heard about
Mm.
this sort of thing happening with other authors. So I kind of knew that a contract might be possible. So yeah, that was a very proud and happy moment.
I love that. We get a different answer every time we ask that. It's one of my
I'll
favourite
bet, yeah.
questions.
Yeah, yeah.
TG has asked, to get into the mindset, do you do any role play?
No, I can't say I do. No, which is probably just as well given the subject matter of my books. I don't.
Yeah, actually, now you come to mention it, might not be the best plan.
I know. See, that could end up with me going to jail. So probably not. No, I think I do, but not in real life. It all happens in my head. I start getting into the heads of my characters and,
Mm.
imagining things as all writers do. So, but no, the role playing stays definitely in my head, not in real life.
Pat Adams, right? Hi, Pat, wants to know. She said she's just finished the second captive and really enjoyed it.
I
Can
think
she ask
about
if you write all of your books in the first person?
No, I don't actually. No, I don't. Trying to think. Let me have a look at my
Mm.
stack of books. I think there must be. I don't think Silent Winter from memory. I don't think that was in the first person at all.
Mm.
Um,
I can
so
never remember when I go back
yeah,
what vantage point books were written from.
yeah. Sister Psychopath and Guilty Innocence. I think both those two weren't written in the first person. Um, So I think it just varies. One thing or another will feel right for each book. I just get a feel for what tense to use, what sort of point of view to write in. It just varies really. It's what feels right at the time.
One of the questions I wanted to ask you was, I know you said you dedicated Sister Psychopath to your brothers.
Oh
Who did
yeah.
you dedicate your first book to?
The first one, His Kidnapper's Shoes. That was dedicated to my very first beta reader, who
Mm.
unfortunately died before she could finish beta reading. But
Oh,
she's a lovely friend, a huge source of support for my books. But unfortunately, she was taken ill and died very soon afterwards, and that book is dedicated to her memory. You know, a lovely friend who I'll never forget.
Well, that's really lovely. What a nice thing.
Yeah, yeah. I miss you, Jenny. You know, if you're up there listening, I miss you.
Mm, yeah, that's really lovely. T has asked, would you would you ever write anything fluffy and fun?
No, no. I can't see that happening at all. You know, I'm not drawn to writing romances or any sort of chick lit or anything like that. It's possible I could write something dystopian, again, more
Mm,
dark stuff, or possibly some kind of fantasy novel. I'm not sure, but at the moment, and I don't think I would write police procedurals either. I'm very nervous about writing anything that's to do with the police or hospital
mm,
for some reason. I just, even though I've got people who are ex-police officers who check through anything I write to do with the police, I'm very nervous about doing a police procedure. I just don't, it doesn't appeal, and I don't think I've got the right kind of knowledge. So, yeah, definitely nothing fun and fluffy, I don't think.
that is absolutely fair enough. Tell us about your non-fiction because this is where I discovered you initially.
Oh, right, yes. I think I love helping newbie authors, which is why it's great fun to work with John, my writing
Mm,
partner and everything. Because I mean, I still feel very much a newbie, even though I've been writing full time for nearly 6 years. And I just wanted to do something that would help new authors because I know when I was, like I said before, when I wrote my first book, I just opened up Word and started typing. I hadn't really a clue what I was doing. You know, I hadn't read any books on the writing craft. I had no idea what I was doing in terms of plotting and all that sort of and pacing and stuff. I just wanted to write a book that would help newbie authors, you know, get started really. And trying to think what happened. I know what it was. It was just after I turned full time as an author, and I'd had a mad panic getting the second captive out and published and everything.
mm,
The minute that was done, I went off traveling for a couple of months, and I was just so exhausted after writing, you know, a book very, very quickly. For me, anyway, I'm not a quick writer. I wrote it quickly and got it published in a mad dash and everything. I just wanted to change. It's like a palate cleanser, really, to actually write a non-fiction book.
mm.
I thought, well, what am I really passionate about? And it is helping newbie authors, you know, get started, just helping them find the confidence and everything. So while I was away, I started fleshing out the ideas for that non-fiction book, which is called Write Your Novel from Getting Started to First Draft. And there's also a sister book, which again that's free from a website, and that's Write Your Novel Success Stories from Published Authors because I thought it would help anyone who wants to write a novel just to hear how people have actually done it, got established, how they wrote the first novel, you know, just to give them people that confidence to get going, really.
Yeah. And
Mm.
I did say to you when we spoke briefly before we were doing the promo for this
Mm.
that I felt like you really spoke to me.
Mhm.
I was reading it and there was this thing of, oh my word, this lady, she gets me, she knows me.
Well,
It was a really great opening.
oh, thank you, Sam. Oh, I'd like to think that I do kind of get newbie authors because I was there not that long ago and I know what it's
Mm.
like, you know, not to have a clue what you're doing and not really sure and everything. And if, you know, if my book has helped you, that is wonderful. I'm really pleased about that.
Yeah, I've got a notebook full of well, the beginning of a notebook
Yeah,
filled with all of the different exercises from the beginning and
yeah,
signing things that declare this is what I'm doing and committing
oh,
to it. And yeah, I
yeah,
love it.
yeah.
Love it.
I think that's important if you're writing a novel because it's a marathon, not a sprint. It's a long
Mm,
haul writing a novel. You've got to be pretty much committed, I think. You know, a lot of people start writing a novel and then they find just how hard it can be. Particularly the first one, I think it does get easier. I wouldn't say it was ever easy, but it does get
mm.
easier as you go on. So
I'll take easier. Easier,
yeah,
I'm good with. That's
yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah. It wouldn't be so much fun if it was really easy anyway. You know, it has its challenges definitely, but
Um, Somebody has asked, it's just coming up as Facebook user. Is there anything particular in your office which you have to get your writing mojo going? Do you have a kind of routine or things that you need?
I do have a writing routine. I always work better in the mornings when it comes to the actual writing. So it's usually get up, I always exercise first thing in the morning. That really helps. That gets me buzzing and everything.
Mm.
So yeah, I write during the morning. Then anything else like my weekly blog or my monthly newsletter, that happens in the afternoons when I'm not quite as creative then. So it's kind of a nice way to wind down the working day. I
Mm.
do have a dedicated office in my house, but I actually don't find I use it at all. I just usually write propped up in bed, so with a laptop table. So yeah.
Somebody's asked about writing superstitions.
I don't think I've got any.
Mm.
I'm trying to think. No, none are coming to mind. I know some authors have to write a certain number of words per day, and they have to, I don't know, maybe in a certain place or anything. But I don't, so long as I've got a laptop and everything, and I'm comfortable, I'm pretty happy. So no, I don't think I've got any writing superstitions.
I've just learned who'd give you back if you were abducted. It was Tony
Oh,
Forder.
now
Cheeky Tony.
why doesn't that surprise me?
Doesn't surprise me at all. Hi, Tony.
No. It's no wonder he's moving away because he's trying to get as far away down the country as he can from me, I think.
Let's hope he's not planning on taking you with him. But apparently he'll bring you back, so it's fine.
Tony, if you're still watching, I'm coming to get you, mate. You're in trouble now.
I'm going to come with you and take notes. This is going to be excellent research.
Yes, he could be my first genuine murder, actually. Yeah. But then Tony is such a great guy, and he's got so
Yeah.
many fans that I think, if I did anything to him, all his fans, including Donna, Donna,
Yeah.
Donna North, she would come after me. So
Yeah, let's just make it clear right now. If Tony goes missing, it's not me. Not me.
no, it's me. I'm unleashing my evil side. And he deserves it. He really does.
Robin, I believe this comment must be from, says, "Thank you for your kind comments, Maggie and Sam. Lovely to see you, Maggie. It's brilliant to hear your Bristol accent, my baba."
Ah,
That must be Robin.
Yeah, that's definitely from Robin because he's a fellow Bristolian. So when we swap messages, we always talk in words like, Gert Lush me baba,
I was just going to say Gert Lush. My friend Lisa lives in Bristol. She doesn't
Yeah.
now. She's moved to just outside. But yeah, Gert Lush I picked up from her.
Yeah, so you have to have me baba on the end as well.
No, I can't do that. I'm a Manc. Me baba doesn't come naturally to me.
No, it's like now I'm not living in the northeast. I can't talk Geordie. I can't say oh, I can't even say it. How a man, different to be daft or whatever. I just can't. It's taken me about 2 years to get used to the accent, let alone say the words.
We've got all sorts coming in still here. 3 cheers for UK Crime Book Club. Thank you for whoever said that. Kaz has said Maggie has a unique trait as well. Ask her about that.
Oh, right. I think Kaz is referring to synesthesia, which is,
Okay.
yeah, it is an unusual trait. Only 4% of the population have it. I've got one of the lesser, not quite so interesting varieties, but where your senses get mingled. So people can see music and they can taste words. So it sounds really, really bizarre, but trust me, if you've got it, it makes sense. So I can see. Yeah, to me, letters and words all have different colors.
Okay.
And what else? To some extent, numbers do as well, but it's usually words and letters. I can kind of see time as well. That sounds really weird, I know, but
No, not at all.
if I think of time as from, say, I don't know, like the Norman invasion through to now, it actually has a particular shape in my head, and I know it sounds really bizarre. It's very hard to describe, but to some extent, we all do it because if we talk about somebody feeling depressed, you say they feel blue, that sort of thing. So to some extent, it does feature in our language anyway. I realize it sounds really, really odd, but
No, it's prickled something with me because I didn't know it was a thing. And Will Templeton was teasing me on Messenger chat the other day because he changed our chat colour to mango. And I said I had to change it back. I could smell it and it was weird and I didn't like it.
Yeah, so you get it.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah, and I don't like the smell of mango.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
didn't know that until the right. I'm gonna have to Google that. Let's move on before I get hooked into that because it's ringing some bells now. That's really unusual.
Yeah, it is. It's, isn't
Hmm.
it? And funny enough, a lot of people who are either writers or artists or musicians have this particular trait. And I didn't realize I was any different to anyone else until
Mm.
I read this article about, I think it was Vladimir Nabokov who had it, and I thought, well,
Okay.
doesn't everyone, see letters and words in color? When I say see, I don't mean actually with my eyes. I actually mean in my head.
Yeah.
It's yes, it's that. But some people will actually
Hmm.
see it. Some people, if you play music, they will actually see musical notes and things like that. It's really odd, but it's just as simple as saying your senses get mingled up.
Yeah.
So it's
I,
not
I
something
definitely don't
that
see musical notes, but I am now questioning some things that I do.
there's lots and lots of different forms of it, and there's an online test you can take, which I did, which is it
Hmm.
really hurts your brain to take it. So yeah, I was just
Everything hurts my brain.
yeah, it was fascinating. I thought, oh, but to be honest, I mean, it doesn't affect me in everyday life. It's just one of those weird quirks, really. But
Hmm.
yeah,
Intriguing.
hmm,
Somebody has put, and it just says Facebook user, so I'm sorry, I've no idea who the comment's
yeah.
from. I feel under pressure to even start reading a book in a series, and they prefer standalones, so that's good.
Oh,
So if
that's
you
good.
haven't read Maggie's books yet, there you go.
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of people say they like series because then they can identify with the characters and follow a character through their character arc and everything. So no, it's nice to know that there's
Hmm.
some standalone
I
fans.
like a mixture. I don't mind a series. I'm big
Excellent.
fan of quite a few. Mark
Mhm.
Billingham with Tom Thorne,
Yeah, yeah,
but I do love a standalone where you can
yeah.
literally just dip in and out of something.
That's what I like. But if I'm going to plug a series, I don't know why I'm doing this because he's just been horrible to me about the abduction.
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, Tony Forder's Bliss and
DI
Chandler
Bliss,
series
yeah.
is absolutely excellent. He's a mean guy in some ways, but he's a top
Mhm.
notch writer. So check out the Bliss and Chandler series.
He's actually done a Bliss and Chandler story for
Oh,
UK
for your
Crime Book Club's
anthology, yeah,
anthology. Yeah,
yeah,
get a little
yeah,
plug in there for our anthology authors. So
absolutely. I'm going to pre-order that when it comes out in paperback. I'll be pre-ordering that.
yeah, me too. Can't wait. Absolutely can't wait. Somebody said, Maggie, you sound proper posh.
I don't think anyone has ever said that to me before. Normally
Definitely
they
nobody
comment
would say
about
that to
my
me.
Bristol. No, not normally people comment on my Bristol accent, which I think is still there, even though I think a lot of my travelling knocked some of it out because I used to sound very Bristolian, and the rest of my family still do. But
Mm.
I'll probably start sounding Geordie now. Give me a few years, and I'll be sounding like a Geordie.
TG wants to know, do you get time for hobbies?
Yeah, I do actually. I think
You're
that
into
was
quite a few different things, aren't you? Fitness and lots of
yeah.
things.
Yeah, I'm getting more and more into fitness. I'm in the process of setting up a home gym. I'm very lucky enough. I've got a room in my house that is now,
Fantastic.
yeah, it's now a dedicated home gym with all the different stuff in there. I love traveling. I think that is besides writing, that's my main passion in life. I'm absolutely passionate about foreign travel. I've never ever lost the wanderlust. It's as strong in me now as it. I mean, I've been traveling for about 35 years now, exploring this wonderful world of ours, and I just love it. Yeah. So yeah, I think part of losing my writing mojo was the fact that my life was a bit out of balance. So I'm making a
Okay.
conscious effort to kind of get it back on track. I've just started learning to paint with acrylics, having huge amounts of fun with that. Got no talent, no idea what I'm doing. It's all abstract stuff. I just go wild with a paintbrush and some paints, and I'm having a blast. I'm really, really enjoying it. So, yeah. So to answer the question, yeah, I'm making as much time as possible for outside pursuits besides writing because my life was a bit not quite in balance going back a while. So, yeah, all good.
Well, I'm hoping the painting's helping with that.
Yeah,
Um,
I
the
think it
the
is.
comments about you being posh was from David Gilchrist. Kaz has just messaged me. Excuse me.
I can honestly, well, David, I can honestly say nobody's ever said that before. So, yeah, I'll take it as a compliment.
Oh, somebody has written. Your books like Kidnapper's Shoes and The Second Captive are very emotional, linger for a long time after they've been read, and that's David as well.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's good. What I do try to do in my books is to really get deep into the emotions, what it must be like to be kidnapped,
Mm,
particularly with Silent Winter, how that guy must have felt, being in total darkness in a dungeon. I love getting deep into the emotions. So hopefully that's why they linger, or at least for David anyway. So yeah, that's good. It's good when that sort of thing happens.
it was that opening. I mean, I don't want to say too much. I don't like,
Mm.
as we've talked about, I hate spoilers. I think they're
Yeah, no spoilers.
terrible. But just going for the beginning of the book, the very, very beginning,
Yeah.
and his senses are heightened. It's completely black, like you said,
Mm.
mattress and blankets, a
Yeah.
bucket,
Yeah.
completely, completely dark. But then other things start to come into play for him
Mm.
because he can't see anything, everything is dark. And he starts to try and listen for different things. And how
Yeah.
hard is that to come up with?
That was, I had to do quite a bit of reading and research into what happens if you deprive somebody of sound and light
Mm,
and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, that bit was quite hard, I think, because, thank goodness that's never happened to me and hopefully it never will. And to
mm.
be honest, when I came up with the idea for the book, I wasn't sure if I could write it because I found the ideas quite harrowing of that happening. So, yeah, that was quite difficult, that one, I think, and then my editor advised me to keep those scenes short and sweet because, A, he is locked up in darkness, but also it is quite a horrible thing, so you don't want to sort of
It
go
is, but
on
the
about it.
imagination of the
Yeah,
reader comes into play there as well. So
exactly. Yeah. Yeah,
that,
that's what
yeah, the more that you go into detail, the less chilling it's going to be,
I think that was what really
if
my
that
editor
makes
was
sense.
getting. Yes, it does. I think that's what my editor was getting at, and I do agree with that. I think it was better when I chopped quite a bit of those scenes out and just left it, to the imagination. Then hopefully, when the reader's reading other bits of the book,
Mm.
they can imagine that he's still locked up and in a
Yeah,
bleak.
this is where I stop talking and move on to the next question.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Give nothing away.
yeah. No, no
Excuse
spoilers.
me. Facebook user has said, okay, I've written 3 books but haven't shown anyone. Well, I hope you'll show somebody, Facebook user. We're not sure who you are at the moment. The
Yeah.
last is about disappearances of children at a theme park, and I think I'm pretty pleased with it. How long did it take you to share your work with people?
Let me think. I finished writing his kidnapper shoes in February 2011. When I got back from my travels later that year, I was very involved in selling my house. I went to live in Portsmouth for a brief time, then I was buying a
Mm,
flat. So it's actually, I think it was 2013 when I published a book. So it was a long while, but that was purely due to personal circumstances. I
yeah,
think if I'd have been in a settled environment, I'd have done it much quicker. But I have to say, because I didn't know what I was doing, it took me months and months and months to edit it. And I didn't really have an editing process. So I was just fiddling around. So I think it took me far longer than it should have done. But yeah, it's certainly nerve-wracking sharing your work with somebody. I think most authors probably feel that's at least some of the time, it's quite nerve-wracking when a book goes to market, the reviews start coming in, or when you send it to your beta readers. Yeah, it's hard going that.
um, popped a comment on the feed that says "Leave Tony alone." So I've just asked Kaz who it was, and it was Tony Millington. Hi, Tony. The
I
two
told
Tonys sticking together against us,
you,
Maggie.
I told you, if I threaten Tony, I'm going to have a horde of people, hunting me down, I think. So, yeah,
Oh, Tony Ford goes missing. I am hiding. Not me. I am encouraging this in no way.
Yeah, we don't want
Um,
to start a fight or anything.
no, we really don't. Excuse me. Um, Somebody has said, sounds like you are hypersensory. My son is autistic and experiences a bit of what you describe embraces and feels his senses. I'm definitely going to do more research into this. Do you think it's something that you would write about?
Possibly. I mean, I've certainly blogged about it on my blog, and I've
Hmm.
considered whether to put it into one of my books. It would be nice to sort of make it more well known because a lot of people don't know what synesthesia is. They find the idea difficult to grasp, and I do understand why that would be. So yeah, I think it would be interesting. I'm not sure how it would work from a plot point of view. It could be interesting. I think I know other authors have done it. They've had maybe a detective who's had synesthesia, and it's actually helped them to solve crimes or anything. But because I don't write crime fiction as such,
Oh, yeah, okay.
yeah, I'm struggling to see how it could fit into a novel. But it's definitely something I have considered, and I've not ruled it out because I think it would be fun to do, and it
Yeah.
might make people, a bit more aware of what it is and how it works.
We're coming up towards 10 minutes left.
Oh
This
wow,
hour
that's gone
so
really
far is
quickly.
flying.
Yeah.
So we've gone into your non-fiction books.
Yeah.
What authors? I know you've said you wouldn't write in other genres. Do you read other genres?
Not really, no. I tend to stick to psychological thrillers and crime fiction, A, because that's my favorite genre, but B,
Mm,
it's great research. If I read a book that's really, really good, I can learn so much from it. If I write if I read one that's not quite so good, I can also learn from that as well.
yeah, of course.
So I think it's all that to me is part of research. I can learn a great deal from the way other authors write and everything. So yeah, I don't really read anything else. I definitely don't read romance or anything fluffy or, anything like that. I occasionally might read I do sometimes enjoy young adult books. I've found
Mm,
that, I've sometimes picked them up from a library and I haven't seen the YA on the spine. And I've not known I've been reading young adult books and I've found them very enjoyable. So yeah, but I don't think I could write one. So I'll stick to just reading them at the moment.
I know Kaz is a big fan of YA books, and I've got several as well that have been.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily know that you read it. Sometimes it's just it takes that little foot off the gas a little bit on
Mm.
how far it's pushed, and
Yes.
sometimes that's nice for a little break from the things like your books, things that are a bit more out there.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's nice to go. They're not exactly cozy, are they, YA? But
No, I know what you mean. Yeah. I mean, I used to be a big fan of historical fiction. I used to love all that sort of. But I think maybe, certainly, I go through phases with my reading. So and I sort of, that was more when I was in my teenage years and everything. And I always go through phases where I just binge read certain authors. I mean, I've just recently discovered Lisa Unger's books, and I think she's a great author. Um, so I've definitely binge read all Tony's books. Hey, see, I'm giving Tony another plug. um, so yeah.
yeah, definitely keeping us busy, Tony, firing these books out. Definitely keeping us busy.
Yeah, go and read Tony's books if you've not already. He's brilliant. So give him another plug. He's going to owe me big time for this. I'm going
He
to say,
is,
yeah, I'm going to give him an invoice.
and he's plugging Endless Silent Scream at the minute, so we'll give him a little nudge there as well.
Yeah, we will. Yes. Yeah.
So, what advice would you give to somebody? Obviously, your non-fiction books um, are writing advice. What advice do you think that you wish you'd known when you started out?
Um, Good question. I think actually, I wish no. I'm glad nobody told me how hard it would be. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't know that. I think, with hindsight, what I should have done before just opening up Word and starting to type, I should have actually read some books about writing. I mean, Stephen King's book called On
On
Writing
writing, yeah.
is a classic. I just wish I'd read some books about plotting, characterization. In hindsight, it's almost a little bit arrogant to just say, "Oh, I'm going to write a novel and open up Word and start typing." That would have been helpful, I think, to have actually done just a little bit of reading around the topic. I mean, I think there's no finer way to learn than actually pitching in and actually writing a book. There's no
Hmm.
substitute for that. But it would have been helpful just to do a bit of reading first, I think.
I'm going to ask you another one of my favourite questions, which is, do you have a favourite relationship between characters that you've created?
Um, Yes, I think I do. And I think, I'm not quite exactly sure why, but I think it's the two sisters in Deception Wears Many Faces. I
Okay.
think it is a very complex and convoluted relationship. And I just really enjoyed creating it. Um, it's not that they're my favorite characters as such. I think if you asked who are my favorite characters, I would give a different answer. But if you said, as you've asked, the relationship between two
Mm.
characters, it's those two, because they're very, very different characters and their interaction. Again, I don't want to give plot
No.
spoilers. You know, their their relationship changes so much from the start of the book to the end of the book and in the middle and everything. That was a lot of fun to write, and I'm quite proud of the way it turned out. So yeah, I would.
Now I have to ask, favourite character?
Favorite characters, I think possibly Dominic from The Second Captive, because
Okay.
again, he was fun to write. He's a psychopath, but he's a multi-layered one. You know, he's got his good
You
side.
do not write flat people.
That's good. That's good. Um, yeah, I would say probably Dominic Purdue from The Second
Mm.
Captive. I mean, to be honest, they've all been fun to write, but he sticks in my mind because, yeah, he took a bit of thought to, sort of get him to flesh out as a fully dimensional character.
So, the questions, it's a bit of a tricky one at the moment because we're still kind of in limbo a little bit. But are there any events that you're looking forward to either taking part in or attending when once we can?
Yeah, oh, fingers crossed, that'll be soon. I think, I mean, this year I was scheduled to appear at Newcastle Noir. I
Mm.
mean, for those who don't know, I now live in the northeast, fairly close to Newcastle, and the lovely Jackie Collins actually, has accepted me to appear at Newcastle Noir this
Mm.
year. Of course, that was completely cancelled. We did do a mini online kind of version and everything, but if it's still possible, I would love to appear on that on a panel on that in future years. That would be great.
So, before I ask you to give one final look at your books, so that everybody knows what they're looking
Yeah.
for, um, just give us a little hint of, if you can, what you're working on at the moment. You're saying you're quite far into it. Are you ready to discuss it yet, or not yet?
Yeah. It's
Excuse me.
provisionally titled Seeds of Separation, and it involves the story of a woman whose mother dies in tragic circumstances, and there's the necessity for an autopsy, and the autopsy proves she's never had a child. So the protagonist, Olivia, is obviously not her daughter, but she has no idea where she has come from or how this has come about. And at the same time, she meets someone who she believes might be her real biological mother. And that's not by accident, by the way. And the story unfolds
Okay.
from there. And what I wanted to delve into was the issues that some adopted people have around adoption, how they feel about having been given up as for adoption as a baby, and how that
Mm.
impacts them emotionally. Um, Obviously, I'm not saying that happens to everyone who's adoptive, but it does in this particular circumstances. And I'm really enjoying it again. As I said, I lost my writing mojo for a while, and even when I got writing again, I wasn't really connected with the book, but that's now coming back. I'm really enjoying writing the story again, putting in some extra twists, developing the characters. So yeah, it's going well at the moment. I'm hoping to finish the first draft by the end of October and maybe get it to the beta readers by maybe early next year, depending on how the editing goes. So yeah, it's going well.
Fingers crossed for
Yeah,
that to
fingers crossed.
continue.
Yeah.
So,
Mm.
give us a quick recap before we finish of your all of your lovely. I
Okay.
say lovely. I mean they are, but I'm not sure lovely is the right word. But go ahead.
Yeah, this is number one, his kidnapper shoes. Number two, sister psychopath. Number three, guilty innocence. I'll hold them up a bit so you can see the covers a bit better. Number four was, bear with me, here we are. The second captive. Oh, wrong one. Second captive, that one. Number five, after she's gone. Don't think I should show Blackwater Lake before. That's Blackwater Lake. That's the novella. And the last one, Silent Winter. There we go. Oh,
Thank you so much for a fantastic interview. I've had an absolutely brilliant hour. Thank you, Maggie, for joining me.
Thank you, Sam. It's been an absolute pleasure to be interviewed by you, and I'm so happy that my book was able to help you. That's really lovely.
We'll see you again for your next release, hopefully.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for everyone who's tuned in. Yeah, I appreciate it. It's nice to meet you.